The Shure SM57 is the most ubiquitous microphone on Earth. Since 1965, according to Shure's own 2022 investor report, over 10 million units of the SM57 have been sold. And that's like enough for every musician in Europe to own too. You can find an SM57 in pretty much every single recording studio on Earth's mic locker. You can find them on the biggest live performance stages in the world, on presidential podiums, NASA rockets, and of course in every garage band's wish list. And as the story goes, Bruno Mars recorded the vocal for the smash hit Uptown Funk on a 57 sung in the control room. But here's the dirty little secret nobody talks about. The SM57 isn't just a legendary mic. It's the most successfully stolen audio design in history. Stick around.
You're listening to The Dangerous Mind of Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov. No excuses, no BS, no pants.
Welcome back to the Microphone Playboy podcast, an audio-only podcast, because I know some of you were a little bit confused by that last time. And you're listening to me through the LS208, the Lauten LS208 going through the SPL Channel 1 Mark III. Now, to understand the SM57's origin, we must rewind to the height of the Cold War. The late 1950s were a golden age of spy gadgets. We're talking pen guns, miniaturized cameras, and microphones so tiny they could hide in a cigarette pack. But while the West obsessed over miniaturization, Soviet engineers solved a more practical problem: how to build mics that wouldn't fail during a Siberian winter or an interrogation. Now, a quick peek inside the KGB Technical Operations Manual of 1959, which was declassified in 1991, would reveal that these devices were made up of dynamic capsules wrapped in rubber, hand-wound transformers, and grills tough enough to stop a bullet. These weren't just mics. They were audio survival tools. And unbeknownst to Shure Chicago engineers, their most famous microphone would inherit this same indestructible DNA. Now, while Neumann chased studio perfection in West Germany, Soviet labs followed a different mantra. A microphone should work after being thrown out a window, dunked in vodka, and stepped on by a tank. Now, how this all ends up in the hands of the Shure brothers in Chicago is quite interesting, because during World War II, Shure became a critical supplier to the U.S. military, producing the T-30 throat microphones for tank crews, SH-33 headset mics for bomber pilots, and radio scramblers for covert ops for the CIA. And while we should not forget Shure's original Unidyne mic from 1939, which was the first single-element directional dynamic mic. It was developed for radio and TV broadcasters. And the innovation here was that it eliminated the need for dual diaphragms to achieve a cardioid pattern. But the big problem, though, is that the original Unidyne suffered from being fragile, being prone to humidity, and also suffering from RF interference. And it was only during these wartime contracts that Shure developed some forms of vibration resistance, EMI shielding, and some moisture proofing for their military headsets. And it was East German engineers who took this captured American audio technology and gave it to the Soviets, who then took the whole thing to a whole new level, including re-engineering it to not only work in extreme cold or extreme heat, but also to survive sandstorms and humidity, which, according to the FSB archives, Acoustic Field Equipment 1962, was perfect for Afghan desert ops. And we're talking about building microphones that could survive the brutal realities of Cold War espionage, right? Requirements reading like a spec sheet for doomsday. The ability to function at minus 40 in a Siberian snowstorm, to withstand interrogation room beatings and to bug conversations through 6 inches of concrete, which is actually what the KGB's, quote, lamp mic could record through 6 inches of concrete, which was great for sure later on because this is what roadies would discover when miking kick drums. So with their stolen technology, what the Soviets innovated was really this concept of, instead of chasing audiophile perfection, they instead chased indestructibility. And then during this time, after the CIA stole some of this technology from the Soviets and gave it to Shure, 3 coincidences emerged. The Unidyne III capsule which was remarkably sensitive to vibrations, perfect for picking up those voices through walls, along with this ability to be virtually immune to electromagnetic interference, which was critical if you were near Soviet jamming equipment. Also, the transformer circuit, which did not exist before in that form in Shure mics, but was great to boost those faint signals without adding noise, which is, of course, ideal for eavesdropping. And the grill design, because the distinctive grill design was it allowed for flush contact with flat surfaces like telephone earpieces. And declassified documents from the CIA reveal a fascinating twist. The CIA studied this Soviet mic tech and sure benefited because in '67 a CIA memo notes that, quote, modified Unidyne elements show promise for non-invasive surveillance, meaning phone bugging. So engineers realized that pressing a dynamic mic against a phone's earpiece captured clear audio via vibration. This is straight up from CIA's own eavesdropping methods report from 1967, which was declassified in 2004. And then according to leaked NSA Berlin wiretap logs from '71, which were leaked in 2010, NSA field agents in Berlin were using stripped-down Shure elements to monitor payphones, or pressing a mic up against a window. And this, of course, is, again, according to declassified CIA documents. So how do you go from spy tool to rock icon? The SM57's path to stardom. It wasn't marketing, it was Darwinian adaptation. Because all of a sudden now you had this feedback resistance born from rejecting room noise and bugging ops. You had this grill toughness originally designed to survive KGB field testing, i.e. being used as a hammer. And moisture proofing, you had these Soviet rubber gaskets finding their way into Shure's designs. And even NASA's choice of the SM57 for space shuttle missions traced back to this heritage. As one engineer put it, if it survives a vodka-soaked KGB op, it'll survive zero gravity. So let's be honest, when your microphone's durability was literally Cold War approved, surviving a Keith Moon drum solo is just like Tuesday. And I guess one of the real ironies of this history of KGB and Shure stealing each other's ideas and using them for innovation is that the SM57 is now one of the most counterfeited mics on Earth, and you can get a cheapo one for like $15. And it was this Soviet engineering philosophy of reliability over luxury, function over form, and performance under impossible conditions that created the rugged SM57 that we have today. I mean, the SM57, it's a Cold War paradox. It was designed for capitalism but built with socialist durability. It was meant for studios but perfected by spies, and born from paranoia, it now unifies global stages. So the next time you see an SM57, remember, you're holding a mic that outlived the USSR, went to space, and probably bugged a phone or two. Not bad for an borrowed design at $99. Do you own a 57? Of course you do. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments, all right? You've been listening to the Microphone Playboy. Until next time, this is Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov, fading to black.